How's it going? I'm Ryan, and today I'm going to go over the three trades I took on NQ. Ended the day with a small loss. Just kind of got caught on the wrong side of things. Today was a downtrending day. Coming into the day, I had two scenarios I wanted to watch out, one to the upside, one to the downside. The downside one played out, but I just did not get any entries to the downside. And so the entries that I thought I saw were to the upside, and realistically probably shouldn't have taken anything at all if I wasn't playing in favor of the trend. So let's take a look at what I was watching and why, and the trades I took. I'm going to turn on these fills so we can see the trades exactly, and then let's pop over to the 1 hour chart. So on the 1 hour chart, where are we? So coming into the day, what I was wanting to see is if we could break below this, break below this level, like this 19,850, because that's where pre-market lows were. Most recent swing low, if we could break below that, I was looking to the downside. If we could break above this little zone here, I wanted to see a break and retest and move to the upside. The reason being is prior to this big sell-off, right, we had this bounce, we came up, we tested this area, and we're kind of pulling back. If we held in here and then moved up higher and set a higher high, higher low, I would look for the upside. Likewise, if we broke these lows and continue this downtrend that we've been in the past couple days, then I was going to look for the downside. These zones are all based off of volume profile. I'm not going to go into each and every one right now. But basically, if I pull up the 5-minute chart, a simplification of what I was talking about is if we could break above these swing highs here and then pull back into this zone and hold it, I was looking for a long. If we broke below these pre-market lows here and then retested, I was looking for a short. So right off the gate, we kind of held the bottom of this zone, moved up into this zone, and we're just kind of ping-ponging back and forth between the two. So there's definitely some opportunities to scalp this range. I didn't take it. I was waiting for a break to the upside or the downside of this range. With that being said, we got the break to the downside, but it happened right at 10, and we had news. So I don't trade news candles. I usually wait for them to finish. I usually give it a few minutes to let things play out. And that break of the pre-market low and the break below the zone happened on that news candle. And then from there, we just started dropping pretty rapidly. So we were dropping, this might not look insane, but 840 to 740 in the matter of 5 minutes. We were dropping about 100 points over the course of minutes. And so there wasn't really an entry for me here. Basically, what I would have wanted to see for an entry is a break lower, come up and retest one of these zones, look for an entry off of weak price action, and then look to continue that down. So we didn't quite get that. So that leads me to the first trade that I took. The first trade that I took was, and we're looking at the hourly chart. So I was looking at this little like demand zone down here where we had kind of some consolidation before this big move to the upside. We came down on the 5-minute, we tested the very bottom of that zone and held it. And then on the next candle, and I'll pull up the 1 minute as well because I was watching the 1 minute. That adjusts. Here we are. So what I was watching was this right here. Unless I continue to zoom in so we can actually see price action. Basically, we came down and we held the bottom of this zone right around that 700, kind of that whole number level. We held it, and then we broke lower and then held it on a higher volume candle here. So we had volume coming down. We see kind of a start to bounce around at the bottom of that zone. We break lower. We break that low a day, but then get pushed right back up and hold the zone. So as we start to push up off that, enter the long. Just thinking that we had a pretty brutal drop. I would be surprised if we made a lower high and came up and tested this zone. So I was looking for a move from like 713, I believe is when I got in, 713. And I was looking for a move, and I was going to cut it around 760, around the top of this candle. So not even looking for the full move up into this zone, but just looking for some sort of relief bounce or a lower high. And the reason I did this is because it gave me a pretty clear risk to reward, right? I put my stop right below the low of day, and then was targeting about a 50-point move. Got stopped out there for about 25 points. So 25 points for over a 50-point move, about a 2-to-1. That's a fine risk to reward. The only thing is I probably shouldn't have been looking for a long in the first place, right? It's pretty obvious what price is doing. We're weak. If we look at the 1 hour, like we were selling off pretty aggressively. Looking for a bounce here was kind of silly. So that was one mistake. I did have good risk management, but that was a mistake. The second trade that I took, and really I took 2 more trades, but it was really just a re-entry of my original trade. So let's take a look at that. And I didn't have a zone here, but what I was watching is this right here. We had this level right at like 600, pretty big like psychological level. You can see that we had a lot of bounces off this. If I extend this back, you can see we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a lot of bounces off this 600 level right here. So I was just kind of watching that, and if I extend that so we can reference it, today's price action, I took a long here, so let me move my 1 minute. We started to kind of bounce off this area, and I took a long. And just gave myself about like 24, it looks like 24 points of risk, hoping that we would get a move back up to this zone. We didn't. Like, I took a long and immediately we swept that low and stopped me out. As we started to push up though, I saw this as an opportunity because we swept that level and then started to regain it. And so I entered long here, and probably shouldn't have done this, but I entered long on 2. I doubled my position, so I entered 5 contracts here. Had I entered at the level, it probably would have been a pretty good gain. You see we pushed up about 50 points off that, but I entered a little late. So I entered 5 contracts here. We started to pull back. I entered another 5. I sold both of them pretty quick, and it's just because I didn't have a ton of faith in this move higher. And good thing I did, because where I sold was pretty much the top, and then we just dropped. My stop loss was below low a day, so I was risking, I think I was risking 40 points. Not a good risk reward on this. 40 points for like 30 points. So it was about less than a 1-to-1. This is not a good trade. But it was just a quick scalp. It actually made me a little over $300. I was down over 500, ended the day down less than 200. So this little scalp brought me back. Realistically, I probably should have waited for this candle to take that initial long off this level. Not that it would have worked out, but it would have been a little bit more according to my plan in terms of having that 5-minute confirmation that we were holding that level and then look for a move higher. Like I said, glad I didn't, because or either way, you know, I would have taken a loss. But the big thing is that I shouldn't have traded against the trend. Like I said, coming into the day, I said if I was breaking below pre-market lows, I would look for entries long, or excuse me, short. If it was breaking above pre-market highs, I was looking for entries long. So taking longs after we had dropped below that level just kind of went against my original plan, and that's not something I should be doing. Will say, you know, kept my risk pretty tight. You know, I followed my plan and stopped out both times I got stopped out. Had a 2-to-1 risk to reward. This one was a bigger than 2-to-1. I just got out quick because I really didn't like the feeling of it, and I realized that at this point I was kind of over trading. And once I was up, you know, over $300, I figured that's a majority of my loss made back. I'll just take it and accept a small L on the day and move forward. So my original plan was to try to take it up to the top of this candle or the top of this zone, shoot for like 700, in which case that would have been, you know, 80 point move, risking 40, so 2-to-1 as well. But it didn't play out, and I'm glad I just got out where I did, because I didn't need to take on another 40 points of risk, especially with double size. No way. That's insane. So we end the week up quite a bit on these accounts. We have one account up 1,600, one account up 1,800. That was due to me thinking I was copy trading and accidentally trading one account and not the other. So there's like a $200 discrepancy between them. But I'm just gonna go off the lowest account, and the lowest account is up 1,600. Probably need to change that. That's not a good omen, but we'll get there on Monday. Happy that I didn't completely overtrade and just blow things after taking a red day. That's the biggest lesson that I'm trying to take, is accepting small losses, controlling my risk, and just moving on. And we'll look to continue that next week, but that's all I got. Ending the day with a small loss, and we'll look to recover next week. Thank you for watching. I stream live Monday through Friday. If you want to stop by, please do. I'd love to have you in. Other than that, hope you have a great weekend. Peace.